Jai Sai Ram. Sri Sai Satcharitra, Chapter 4, Part 1. Sai Baba's First Advent in Shirdi. Mission of the Saints. Shirdi a Holy Tirth. Personality of Sai Baba. Dictum of Gauli Bua. Appearance of Vittal. Shir Sagar story. Dasganu's bath in Prayag. Immaculate Conception of Sai Baba and his first advent in Shirdi. 3 Vadas. In the last chapter, I described the circumstances which led me to write Sri Sai Satcharitra. Let me now describe the first advent of Sri Sai Baba in Shirdi. Missions of the Saints. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, whenever there is a decay of dharma, righteousness, and an ascendancy of unrighteousness, I manifest myself, and for the protection of the virtuous and destruction of the vicious, and for the establishment of righteousness, I manifest myself in age after age. This is the mission of the Lord and the sages and saints, who are his representatives, and who appear here at proper times, help in their own way to fulfill that mission. For instance, when the twice born, the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas neglect their duties, and when the Sudras try to usurp the rights of the higher classes, when spiritual preceptors are not respected but humiliated, when nobody cares for religious instructions, when everybody thinks himself very learned, when people begin to partake of forbidden foods and intoxicating drinks, when under the cloak of religion people indulge in malpractices, when people belonging to different sects fight among themselves, when Brahmins fail to do Sandhya adorations and the Orthodox their religious practices, when yogis neglect their meditation, when people begin to think that wealth, progeny, wife are their sole concern, and thus turn away from the true path of salvation, then do saints appear and try to set matters right by the words and action. They serve us as a beacon lights and show us the right path and the right way for us to follow in this way. Many saints, for example, Nivritti, Jnanadev, Muktabai, Namdev, Gora, Ganai, Eknath, Tukaram, Narahari, and Narsibai, Sajjan Kasi, Savata, Ramadas, and various others did appear at various times to show the right path to the people, and so presently came Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi. Shirdi, a holy tirth. The banks of the Godavari river in the Ahmednagar district are very fortunate, for they gave birth and refuge to many a saint. Prominent amongst them being Jnaneshwar. Shirdi also falls in the Kopargan Taluka of Ahmednagar district. After crossing the Godavari river at Kopargan, one gets the way to Shirdi. When you go 3 kos, that is 9 miles, you come to Nimogan, from where Shirdi is visible. Shirdi is as famous and well known as other holy places like Gankapur, Narsimvadi, Adumbar on the banks of Krishna river. As the devotee, Damaji flourished in and blessed Mangalvada near Bandarpur, as Samarth Ramadas at Sajjankad, as Sri Narsim Saraswati at Saraswati Vadi, and Sainath flourished at Shirdi and blessed it. Personality of Sai Baba. It is on account of Sai Baba that Shirdi grew into importance. Let us see what sort of a personage Sai Baba was. He conquered the samsara, which is very difficult and hard to cross. Peace or mental calm was his ornament, and he was the repository of wisdom. He was the home of Vaishnava devotees, most liberal, like Karna among liberals, the quintessence of all essence. He had no love for perishable things and was always engrossed in self-realization, which was his sole concern. He felt no pleasure in the things in this world or of the world beyond. His antaranga was as clear as a mirror, and his speech always rained nectar. The rich or poor people were the same to him. He did not know or care for honor or dishonor. He was the Lord of all beings. He spoke freely and mixed with all people, saw the actings and dances of Nachu girls, and heard Ghazal songs. Still he swerved not an inch from Samadhi, mental equilibrium. The name of Allah was always on his lips. While the whole world awoke, he slept. While the world slept, he was vigilant. His abdomen was as calm as the deep sea. His ashram could not be determined, nor his actions could be definitely determined. And though he sat in one place, he knew all the transactions of the world. His darbar was imposing. He told daily hundreds of stories. Still, he swerved not an inch from his vow of silence. He always leaned against the wall in the masjid and walked morning, noon, and evening towards Lendi and Chavadi. Still, he at all times abided on the self. Though a Siddha, he acted like a Sadhaka. He was meek, humble, and egoless, and pleased all. Such was Sai Baba, and as Sai Baba's feet treaded on the soil of Shirdi, it attained extraordinary importance. As Jnaneshwar elevated Alandi, Eknath did Paitan, so Sai Baba raised Shirdi. Blessed are the grass leaves and stones of Shirdi, for they could easily kiss the holy feet of Sai Baba and take their dust on their head. Shirdi becomes to us devotees another Pandharpur, Jagannath, Dwaraka, Banaras, and Rameshwar, Badri Kedar, Nashik, Triambakeshwar, Ujjain, and Mahakaleshwar or Mahabaleshwar, Gokan. Contact of Sai Baba in Shirdi was like our Veda and Tantra. It quieted our samsara and rendered self-realization easy. The darshan of Sri Sai was our yoga sadhana, and talk with him removed our sins. Shampooing his legs were our bath in Triveni Prayag, and drinking the holy water of his feet destroyed our desires. To us, his commands were Vedas, and accepting his Udi and Prasad was all purifying. He was our Sri Krishna and Sri Rama, who gave us solace, and he was our Parabrahma, absolute reality. He was himself beyond pair of dvandvas, never dejected nor elated. He was always engrossed in his self as existence, knowledge, and bliss. Shirdi was his center, but his field of action extended far wide to Punjab, Calcutta, North India, Gujarat, Dhaka, and Konkan. Thus, the fame of Sai Baba spread far and wide, and people from all parts came to take his darshana and be blessed. By mere darshan, minds of people, whether pure or impure, would become at once quiet. They got here the same sort of unparalleled joy the devotees get at Pandharpur by seeing Vittal Rukamai. This is not an exaggeration. Consider what a devotee says in this respect. Dictum of Gauli Buva. An old devotee by name Gauli Buva, aged about 95 years, was a Varkari of Pandharpur. He stayed 8 months at Pandharpur and 4 months Ashada to Karti on the banks of Ganges. He had an ass with him for carrying his luggage and a disciple as his companion. Every year he made his Vari trip to Pandharpur and came to Shirdi to see Sai Baba, whom he loved most. He used to state that this is Pandharpur with Vittal incarnate, the merciful Lord of the poor and helpless. This Gauli Buva was an old devotee of Vitoba and had made many trips to Pandharpur, and he testified that Sai Baba was real Pandarinath. Jai Sai Ram.